What's going on, everybody? It's Dead by Day here. If you're anything like me, Warzone's gotten a little stale for you. Whether you're just getting tired of it because you think there's cheaters all over the place, or the content's just not fun enough, or the balancing of the guns, or the matchmaking is not exactly where you want it to be, then you might be looking for something else. Now, this is definitely not the game to jump to if you're a hardcore Warzone fan, because in case you can't tell, this is not a shooting game. This is that Hunter's Arena game that just came out on PlayStation and PC about a week and a half ago. And from what I can tell, there's not a whole lot of really good tips and strategy guides and things trying to get people interested in this game. There's not a lot of good information on YouTube about stuff like that. So here's some content of what I've been playing in the first couple days I played, and some of the big things that I really learned that the game just doesn't tell you about how to play this game. And if you learn some of these things and take it with you, it's going to make starting this and playing this game and learning it a whole lot easier than just playing the tutorial is going to give you. Now, after playing this for about a week or so, I would describe this game as some of like the hack and slash kind of stuff of like the Dynasty Warriors type gameplay, mixed with some ability kind of stuff from games like Smite or League of Legends, and then obviously a battle royale. So some of that stuff should be sort of familiar to you if you've played any of those games. Now, the things that are not going to be familiar are the mechanics of how they put all of this stuff together. So starting at the top, we're just going to work our way around the HUD to kind of give you an idea of what you're all looking at, because there's not a picture or a display example that you can go to in the menu to look at all this stuff. You kind of have to learn it on the fly as you play. So up on the top left, you've got what level you are. Right next to it is your experience. So yes, you do level up. So farming minions is a way to increase your person's power. You got your health and then your stamina. Now, your stamina, you should have a pretty good idea of what stamina does in a game like this. So stamina is used anytime you sprint. So when you put your weapon away, that's the only way that you actually run faster. You have to put your weapon away. Your stamina is going to go down there. The only time that you increase your stamina is if you stop moving or you take your weapon back out. You do move a whole lot slower when your weapon's out, so keep that in mind. The other way your stamina goes down is if you block. If your stamina runs out and you're blocking, you're going to go into an incapacitated sort of state, so you got to pay attention to that. Under that, you have that little sword icon. Now, I haven't been able to figure out exactly what that is, but it does go up every time you kill another player, and I think that has something to do with what it calls your kill streak, and it gives you a buff based on how many people you've killed. So getting fed in this game the same as you would in like Smite or League of Legends is going to be huge to your success in this game. Down to the left corner right there, you have your D-pad or your 4 hotkeys if you're playing on PC. That's where your items go. You always start with your health potions, are hotkeyed to the left on the D-pad. Underneath that, your first little circle on the left is called your escape button. Basically, anytime you're being juggled or getting hit by an ability or something like that, if you hit for PlayStation's L1 and R1, it's going to push everybody away and kind of interrupt that combo and give you some breathing room. Now, you have to be careful when you're using that because it's on a really long cooldown. It's like a minute or something like that. The one to the right of that is your character's passive. So sometimes there's ones that they're active all the time. There's ones where you have to build up a certain amount of charges. There's ones where it has a cooldown. So that information is going to be in that second little bubble right there on the left. And then your next set of bubbles are all your abilities. So you automatically start with the first 3. And then once you get to level 10, you unlock your 4th ability. And that one on the very right is your ultimate ability. That's what those do. Now, working to the right corner, you have your 5 slots for your items. So you can have a weapon, a helmet, armor, and then 2 accessories, which are just rings at this point, or earrings, I believe. So, working to the right some more above the map, that is a typical map. And then above that, you have the timer for when the circle is going to start closing, and then where you are in relation to the next circle. Up on the upper right corner, you've got your gold, your power crystals, and your pure power crystals. They're black and purple respectively. Your kill count, and then your number of players left and how long the match has been going.
The most dangerous criminal alive.
If you ever see gold piles just on the floor like this in a little trail, it means that there's a treasure goblin nearby, and that's what I'm fighting right now. It's this little gold basket-looking dude. If you kill them, they drop a bunch of gold, and they normally will drop something pretty rare. In this case, he drops me a legendary enchantment. Now, this whole process of actually enchanting your items is not very intuitive, and you'll see me struggle with it right here. But what you need to do is go and select the scroll, and then select the item you want to apply the scroll to. Because if you just keep hitting X on the scroll over and over, it's just going to tell you can't use it, because you're essentially using the scroll on itself, and it doesn't work like that. It took me a little while, because when you hit X on the scroll, there's nothing like the border around the scroll doesn't flash. There's nothing that shows you that you've actually selected the scroll to apply to one of your items. Another really important thing to understand about the game is the vendors that populate throughout the world, and they move around as the circles close and move around and stuff like that. There's a blacksmith, which upgrades your gear, so that takes those power crystals and those pure power crystals, which you get from killing people, and it improves the rarity or the quality of your gear. The advanced weapon merchant with the crossed swords icon on the map will take those power crystals and give you a legendary item. So if you have 2 pure power crystals, the purple ones, which you get 1 for killing every person, and then you loot whatever whoever you killed drops. So anytime you get 2 kills early in the game, it's normally a good idea to try to figure out where that advanced merchant is, because if you can get 2 early kills and then go buy a legendary weapon or armor piece or something like that, that's going to put you way ahead of most of the people around. And then lastly, you have just a regular item merchant. He's like a little money bag icon on the map. He sells things like potions and grenades and smoke bombs. And he's even got like a trap for the other players, and you use the gold to buy those things. So the way that fighting is going to work is you have a light attack, and then you have something called martial arts, which is essentially a heavy attack. If somebody starts blocking, you can hit them with your martial art move, or like triangle in my case. After hitting triangle once, you can either follow it up with a second heavy attack, and if that hits, will kind of stun them. If you hit your light attack afterwards, it'll do a regular hit and just like push them back, so you can use it to push them off cliffs. The problem with using your heavy attacks is that they can be countered. So while somebody's blocking, if they hit triangle and you hit them with your heavy attack, they will counter you and stun you, so it frees you up. So you really have to be careful. People are starting to get smart now. Once you hit that first heavy attack, they're anticipating that you're going to go for the follow-up heavy attack and go for the stun. So most of the time, people are ready to counter that second hit. Another thing is, you can see how I'm running right now. There's that little trail behind me. Anytime you're sprinting, you leave a trail like that. So not only will it give you away visually, but if you ever try to run away from somebody and they follow your trail, it actually increases their speed. So running away from people is never a way to get away from somebody. They will run faster than you, they will catch up to you, and there's just nothing you can do about it. It's a mechanic of the game. So you have to get creative with how you get away from people and re-engage and heal yourself. One of the things you can do is try getting into one of the bushes, because there is a hiding mechanic. Obviously, I just botched that whole hit. She just ran past the bush and I totally missed. But the idea is there. Now I'm going to leave you with my last 2 tips for this video. The first one is you need to be aware that basically from the time that you start an ability to the time right before it finishes, if you take damage or get hit, it'll cost you your ability, but it won't actually activate. So it took me a while before I finally realized why my moves weren't going off, and it was because they just were interrupted by damage. I would sit there and hit the button over and over and over again, try to figure out why it wasn't working, and it was just because it did work, it was just interrupted by somebody's basic attack or something like that. So in the event that you're using an ability and you didn't see it go, it's probably because you just got hit out of it and you didn't notice it. So stop hitting the button and start doing something else, because you're going to waste precious seconds in the middle of a fight like this trying to use an ability that's been on cooldown for 4 seconds. You just didn't realize it. And the last thing, saving the best for last, is lock on to the bad guys. I know it gets a little hectic, especially when you're playing in trios, you're fighting more than one person, but locking on is a surefire way to give your guy the best chance they have to making sure that their moves hit. You just miss way too often. If you're not locked on, the camera, it doesn't cooperate, and it just is a mess. There it is, some of my tips and my first win in this game. I'm going to show you the scoreboard right now, just a little bonus tip, just to give you an idea of some of the things that the game gives you experience for and how to level up. The characters cost a ton of those little soul points, so anytime you can rack up a scoreboard like this with experience and stuff like that is definitely going to help. I'm going to try to make some more videos like this in the future. Like I said, I just couldn't find a whole bunch that, a couple days after this came out, all the tips and tricks were just bad. There wasn't really anything substantial talking about the mechanics of the game and what any of the items do yet. I still haven't found anything like that, so I'm going to try to compile some screenshots or some videos with the different armor pieces so you can kind of have an idea what they do and you're not just picking up random colors and stuff like that, and different strategies on how to deal with stuff. If you like any of this stuff, make sure you let me know. And if you care about this game, if you don't care about this game, if you want to know who I think are the good players, the good characters, the bad ones, let me know. I've been trying to dabble in a little bit of everybody. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.